Hello and welcome, episode 15 on Candid Conversations. It's Michael here with Bill, talking to you about some sort of fun or interesting topic, as well as, I know, we've been talking already for so long, but you're on luck because we both do like to talk. Sharing about our journeys, stories as small business owners, something that you can take with you if you are looking to get started in a business. Maybe you have one or you just want to support us. Man, whatever you are, you should definitely support us. So check out the description to get our descriptions on how you can support us. So subscribe, follow, like on all platforms because we are everywhere.
Exactly. Check the descriptions for the subscriptions.
Yes. But I thought it would be interesting, Bill, to talk about distractions. And I try to, when I'm coming up with what's something fun we can talk about, it's actually really hard, but I've been trying to tie it into either what we've talked about offline or what I'm going through. And we're both reading the Screw Tape Letters, or you're listening to it. I'm reading it by C.S. Lewis. And basically this older demon is giving wisdom, writing letters to his nephew. So he's the uncle who's like a demon in training. And it's very creepy, just like a fictional work, but really makes you think. And a lot of what he talks about on how to get basically us headed to hell away from God is using distractions, like make them think they're doing something, but then throw things this way and that way and really distract them until all of a sudden you reach the end of your life and you're like, I got nothing done, or I did what I should not have been doing and I didn't even enjoy it. Right. And I think when we look at distractions in our own life, but particularly when we have a small business, they're there and it can be so detrimental to actually getting work done, just knowing you have a full-time job that's over your normal full-time and you still have to come home and work on your small business. And if you're distracted, your business does not happen. Right. So I thought it would be fun to kind of talk about maybe what are some distractions we both have and kind of how do we navigate through it, kind of as advice for people listening, because I know you watching and listening along, you've got a lot of distractions too.
Well, first off, I think my full-time job is the distraction.
Yeah.
But,
if I got rid of that, problem solved.
I wouldn't have any problems. I have water on my desk. My arm is completely slipping. So, anyways.
Not on your lap.
Right? I actually didn't know.
As you just wipe it onto your lap.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Anyways,
distraction.
Because I find myself at work, my full-time job, where I actually earn an income. I find myself there, and the past 2 days, 2 or 3 days, I was thinking about the particular course I'm working on. That's the only thing. Well, no, I take that back. Beach Boys Kokomo was stuck in my head literally all day yesterday, and I finally got it out. And then the boss comes back from he had a business trip. Him and there's three people total that went to learn. I don't know exactly what happened, but they went down there for business stuff. They went down to Florida, which is where the song Kokomo is based on the Florida Keys. There's a place called Kokomo. So I see him walking in. I was because he hasn't been there for 2 or 3 days, whatever it's been. And then I was oh, that's right. He just got back from Florida. Down in the Florida Keys. And so that's going to be stuck in my head now.
It's back. Yeah, now tonight, the rest of tonight as you
eat
eat popcorn.
And distractions are everywhere. We have them. We have them on our phones. We have them on TVs. We have relational aspects, which can be distractions. All sorts of things. And I think, that's a challenge all of us are guilty of. And I think it really comes down to the intentional effort to stop that. For an example, I want to do some more reading. And I find myself, I'm reading a certain amount. And while I'm reading, it's I'm thinking about certain things that are being said in there. It's I want to share this. Or I want to tell somebody about this and so on. And I do. I'll either share it on social media or I'll send a picture, quote, send it to somebody, say, hey, check this out. Or Michael, like you did the other day, says, here's this picture. I think we intentionally do that. For an example, with reading, when we get into those places, highlight it, underline it, and just keep going. It's okay, I've just finished this chapter. now let's go ahead. Or even I've just finished the 3 chapters. I think, whatever else you need to. But with the intention of knowing why you're starting what you're doing and really just sticking to that, is I'm not going to stop doing this until I reach this goal or this accomplishment. In my case, reading or writing or, recording, whatever it is. And when it comes to legal aspects, whatever other businesses have, they need to set that goal in place and be like, okay, everything's off, TV's off, radio's off, phone's off. In fact, it's not even in my reach. I'm leaving it in the other room or something. I think those stuff like that can be beneficial when it comes to tackling these distractions.
Yeah, that's great. And I'd heard on a podcast, it was many months ago, but they were talking about how we can only keep attention for like less than a minute, like when they've done studies, and then your mind goes to something else. And then when I'm working, I'm like, I just opened a new tab, or I wanted to check to see, did that get a response on Facebook? And then I go back to writing, and then I'm like, oh, I need to check this. And then all of a sudden I put my phone back down. I'm like, I didn't check what I was trying to check when I picked up my phone.
Yeah.
And so I think that's also helpful to know, is like, don't worry, we all go through it. But yeah, as you said, you need to make sure you know the goal of why you're doing what you're doing, and like I found like deadlines within that of like, okay, Michael, you really need to focus on just finishing this email. It should not take you a full workday to write an email when you've got to send 2 emails every week. And I'm like, if it did, I would waste so much time. But I found too, like, if you can have focused work times, so shorter periods of time, but like extremely focused, then it almost makes up for, like, say you had 4 hours of distracted work. And I know there are probably studies on that as well. And I think I've just heard it by listening to a lot of those like Do Better in Life podcasts, the self-help sort of things and the psychology of it. But that was what in my small group at church, I had asked them, like, prayed for productive, focused times of work. And they just leave me like, what do you mean? I was like, well, it's kind of hard to explain, but, like what I just said.
Right.
Like, if I can just get a lot done in these short chunks, then I will be much further than feeling like I got nothing done. And even where I'm at now, we have a almost 6-month-old puppy. And so that's like a distraction, and that like he needs to be brought out to go to the bathroom, and then he terrorizes our chickens and cats. So if I'm working outside, as soon, like you mentioned with the book, I open the book, start reading, and then I'm like, Teddy, stop it, and then I have to get up and put him inside, and then the chickens are digging up flowers they shouldn't be, and I'm just like, everything here is pulling at me away from my work or my reading. But that's what I've found, like kind of what you're saying along those lines. But I think kind of it's one of those knowing what your own, like what you're drawn to, I don't know how to say it. Like if you're someone who's always on social media, that's the first thing that
know what you're easily distracted by, and
figure that out. Like self-diagnose yourself, because it can be different for a lot of people, I would say.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good idea. Is if, like, for an example, for me, like with the reading is, I already mentioned the whole phone thing is to find, like you said, find out what's distracting you, put that red flag on, and be like, okay, so this is what I'm setting to accomplish. Here's the distractions, and then find some way to vault it up. But like you were talking about your multiple tabs, and I think which, I mean, I'm not personally criticizing this, but you know what, I am.
Don't have multiple tabs.
That's
what you're gonna say.
Well,
I've
because
gotten
of
a lot better.
Yeah, the amount that you have. But no, I think I guess I was kind of putting myself in that position. When I do my writing, I mean, I have some commentary. There's a couple websites I go to for insight and whatever, and just have those there. I mean, like right now, well, because I was relaying the link for this podcast, but I have Messenger or Facebook open, and I just copied and pasted the link from the email to Messenger, and boom, it's on my computer. But using that as an example, because I see it up there in the tabs, close Facebook, and then I have one article, I have a document open, I have a book open. That's all I need. And okay, there I can go ahead and get to work on that. Don't open up any more tabs. Don't do anything else. These are the 3 that I'm sticking with, and that's it. So I think something like that could be beneficial, or if you really want to go a little further than that. Shut the computer off, crack open a notebook, and there you go.
The old school. Yeah. What did you do as a kid? And basically, all of life should go back to that.
Right.
Including getting rid of your cell phone, not watching TV.
Yep, just get unplugged.
Saturday morning cartoons. That's all you
Oh,
need.
no, you always need those. Like Toonami, I don't remember what that was. Kids WB, those were awesome. But, I mean, find some way to limit yourself in ancient tech, so to speak.
Yeah, I've also found recently, this week, I've done it on a couple of days. If I know it's going to be a busy day, but I still want to get stuff done and feel like I got stuff done, it's like writing a list of literally everything that you need to do, like eating breakfast, walking the dog, having lunch, going to the gym, along with all your work stuff. And then as you're crossing it off, it also pumps you up, and then almost like you can't be distracted because you got to get these 10 things done. And the other day I got everything done, and I was like, but I didn't work on, which we'll go into next, like what we're working on in our businesses. Like, I didn't work on that masterclass at all, but I did get what I needed to done. So it's like a weird mix, but I think being realistic too, because within that, I also knew, like, Michael, realistically, you knew you weren't going to be able to do the masterclass, which is why you didn't put it on the list, because you have that church group to go to. And that, like,
right.
terrible to say, it ruins the day, but it, like, destroys my normal schedule of working because I need to cut off early, make dinner, leave the house, and go to that.
Yeah. There's an analogy I heard at a meeting at the company I work for. They do annual meetings, and they gave an example to eat the frog. Or eat the frog first. And I can't remember exactly what it is, but basically, you know, with your whole concept of making a list, do the most difficult thing first, or the thing that you really don't want to do, that you want to put at the bottom of the list, put that at the top as the first thing that you get done. And then everything else comes after that, whatever that might be. You know, I've got to get this master class done, but I really want to watch TV for, you know, a good few minutes or so. It's like, well, okay, put that at the bottom of the list, put the master class at the top. So I think that's something, and I personally need to put that into my own practice as well. So I think that's something that we can learn from.
What my mentor on the YouTube show he's on with another guy said, is you need to focus on what's going to make you money. And I was just like, I mean, he's not calling me out because, like, both of us, we are doing that. But it's like a good dose of truth. And I'm like, well, I needed to make those social media posts because I'm featuring this business owner. So, but it's also like makes you think, like, are you actually working towards what's going to make your business money? Because at the end of the day, he was like, that's why you're there. You're there to make money. Like, if not, he was saying it's a hobby. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a hobby interviewing business owners. I want to make it a business and, you know, go out and do all this. But it was a good, like, reminder of why, in my instance, like, I need to prioritize that masterclass because this is what I've set up for myself of, like, this is how I'm going to make money. I should be able to. But what have you been working on in this last week with all that you've been doing?
Well, I mean, it kind of ties into what you said in what you just finished saying, you know, to focus on what makes you money. And, like, with these courses and everything that I've been doing, is like I mentioned previously, I've been hesitant on certain things because I want certain things to happen. But, you know, the reality is, you know, I need to begin to promote those to bring in that audience, which I've been kind of slack. And I've got soft, I don't want to say legitimate, but I want to say soft justifications why, which I need to get out from and actually make some progress. But anyways, besides the point, I have been working on hermeneutics class, which I think I might have mentioned that last week. I just finished, no, almost finished, because I can't give away too many details, but I came across a resource that's very beneficial to help complete the course. So I'm actually working on adding, prior to this recording, the first lesson quiz, and super excited about the resources that I came across to continue that. I mean, basically, that my job is literally limited, has been limited, not limited, that's not the word I want, reduced. That's the same thing. It's been reduced to all I have to do is type up a couple of notes and presentation slides, and that's it. I have a person. I actually, what I did do is I purchased a workbook, which is something that's going to be available for the students as well. But I did purchase it so that way I could put the material online in the course in case people don't want to spend the money to purchase the workbook. So, but I mean, that's been pretty helpful. It's just simply a copy paste. Here's some questions. Here's some practice sheets, exercises, and so on. I really want to share the course with everybody right now because the very first lesson has such. If I was I'm actually probably going to once I finish developing this course. I'm probably going to go through it and take it. Because as of now, I'm using the textbook, which I've asked permission from the authors or publishers or whoever you'd like to label them as. It's like, hey, can I teach this course? And they're like, yeah. It's like, okay. So the only requirement, of course, is that the students have to purchase their own copy. But that's been that's kind of expected. It's like I would even do that because I'd rather have that copy in front of me. But so I've been working on this hermeneutics course, come up with a bunch of resources, and past few days, it's like been the only thing that's been going through my mind at work. It's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be making money. I want to be at home. So
Yeah, and maybe that's an idea of, I don't know how your system works that you're on, but like sell it to us, just the first part, and then we'll get excited for what's to come. Or I don't know. I know they have ways around that, of like sign up now and you'll get to try the first part as I'm finishing the rest. But
right. Well, and I've thought about that. I was like, what can I do? Because I mean, I know people, depending on what the topic is. I mean, people have different interests, of course. But if it's something they're interested in, it's like, yeah, hurry up, get it done. And I mean, I've seen some scholars and theologians and ministries and organizations of all sorts promoting material in which they're developing, and I'm that same guy. I'm like, you need to hurry up and get that done because I want to check it out. So
yeah,
I'm trying to find some way to do that.
Yeah, well, that's exciting, and thanks for sharing that because those watching can stay tuned as this is all coming together and start getting excited. For myself, I am almost halfway through the masterclass of the presentation side. So I got a text today from the film guy saying like, hey, we're trying to book a spot for about 2 weeks out, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Are you going to have your content ready for that timeline? I'm like, yes, I will. Because the first half I learned, like what I was sharing with the adult group, the small young adult group at church was like, when you're starting something new, and maybe I shared this last time, I'm learning how to do it. So how to create a masterclass. I'm setting up my own template. So that's another creative, takes time to figure out how do I want everything laid out.
Right.
Then, like you mentioned, in like a 1 hour course, like lesson, you only have 5 to 6 slides. And I'm like, well, I'm having to like figure out what am I going to talk about? And then how can this supplement that? But also not put too much words, Michael, because you like to talk. But then also this is kind of backwards because of the budget I have is like the talking part is going to be just brief, get you ready and like intro it. And then the presentation needs to have a lot more. And then you're going to have an activity to do. Right. So I'm like, I'm not going to worry about the activity yet because I need to finish the presentation and then I'll know what to say. And then the activity kind of brings it all together. But the first half was also content I don't have previously written. So like what I'm working on now is like the kind of research to figure out who do you want your person to be, and then you're going to build a community around that. And then the last part is like, here are actions you can take of like building a landing page, a community, stuff to get stuff started. And I have a ton of content on that. So I just need to recycle that and reformat. So I'm like, yes, this part should be easier, where the first part it was all about kind of like what mindset, health, and support you're going to need as you start this journey of being a small business owner, which it's all stuff like it's really fun to write about. I've experienced a lot, like the ups and downs, and it's like, what can I share with people if they are wanting to start? That's not going to scare them away, but also be enough to be like, this is going to be serious. Like if you're going to jump into this, like you need to have the right mindset. You need to take care of yourself, and then you need support around you.
Right. Yeah, and I was thinking, well, I'm not going to go into too much of a tangent, but I was actually thinking about that very topic today. It's like, it's on pause, but the idea of how to develop a ministry and, those kind of steps. And I think that's kind of what you're going with, but in a general business concept. And
You can take my master class in copy.
There you go.
Or like inspiration, but it's probably, I'm already at like 60 slides.
Wow.
Like, ooh. But I think of it as to like, this is like, if I only have 1 hour to talk to you and give you everything you need. So I'm like, in regards to that, I would appreciate that. And if I'm going to charge him $200, but also I was telling someone this week, I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough content to justify charging 200. Now I'm like, shoot, Michael, you're talking too much. Like, you're giving too much away for 200. So I told my neighbor today of like, the goal is to try to start it at 200. And then as I get a following and audience, and like as things show that this works, which I'm going to test it out too with a new business idea, but I'm going to start it as a community to follow my own, what I'm advising people. Then I want to charge $300, $400, maybe $500, because I'm like, this really can get you started, and I had to go through so many years of life to learn this. So it's very fun though, which I know you talk about all the time too, of like that zone of like being able to create something that's fun for you, but also it's going to help other people, and then help other people. You're just like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, this type of content that's being developed, I think this is very good from my side, or from what I'm doing and you're doing. I mean, there's so many people out there that want to learn something, that want to know how to do it, but they don't know. And I mean, to set a price, absolutely, because I mean, people who are interested and want to progress in whatever the goal is, they're going to be willing to invest in time into that. Time and money, of course, because I mean, you think about this. Like for me personally, my own studies, I've got an entire bookshelf of books back here. I really don't have a number. I would say probably a couple $1,000s worth of books, and all of those have been beneficial. They have extremely helped my growth in various different ways. And we do that itself. I mean, yeah, we want something cheap, but you want something that's effective too. And I think, honestly, $200 is a great price, to start. I want to build a business. How do I get going? Well, go to Michael. He'll hook you up.
Yeah, and the other thing, which I can kind of end with myself, and then I'll let you add anything closing you want, is that when I had a call with the mentor, he had said, even if you're like 2 steps ahead of someone in their journey, it's worth it, and you will still get people that are interested in learning from you. And he talked about how if you think of someone, he listed a bunch of entrepreneurs. I'm like, I'm so not in the world. Even though I am, I don't care. Like everything, I'm like, I did theater, but I'm not a theater geek. I did music. I'm not a music. Like, I don't know anything besides like what I'm interested in.
Right.
And I've purposely stayed away from those top entrepreneurs because I think they're not helpful in the long run. But he said those people would not attract new people because they're in a different world than I'm in. But someone who sees me, who's like, I'm further ahead, I have started stuff and I'm sharing everything I'm doing, can help someone out who knows nothing. And same with what you're doing. Like, you're a couple years in the business and you're creating stuff that if you know nothing about hermeneutics, like people can't even say the word, they don't know what it means.
I should have actually mentioned that.
What is it?
Hermeneutics. Hermeneutics is just a fancy word of saying biblical, interpretation in general. It's the art and science behind interpreting something. So
I wasn't sure if we had mentioned that last time because I was going to stop you and be like, tell us what it means for those that don't know, who haven't grown up in the church. But I thought it was really encouraging, though, to hear that because it really makes you think, especially when I'm talking to like the small business community I have. And like, I'm going to push for other people. Like, if you make soaps, make a class and share with what you've learned, even if you're not living off of your soap business.
Oh, yeah.
You still have so much to offer me, who's just like so happy that I made a little tub of deodorant on my own, who's now like potentially maybe wants to dive all in. And I would pay for a course of like how to create deodorant that you can then resell. So I think that is encouraging for people listening as well as for both of us to know like you can create stuff and not feel bad. Don't take it like you don't have to say, and someone, I think my sister was like, you should probably tone it down on you're on government health care and government's funding. And well, my unemployment actually just ended, so I can't even say that now. I'm on that. But I was like, but I think it's truthful, and I like sharing that part of the journey. But I was just encouraged by that to know like, okay, you don't have to be super successful, because he also mentioned like, what is success? I'm like, oh no. What is success to one person is different to the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you have to say to close us out or respond or?
Yeah, well, I'd say success itself, I mean, is obviously, I think that's probably where they were getting at, is really measured by your goal. I mean, like, I think that, what I'm doing here is super successful. One, I enjoy it. Two, there's stuff that's being developed. Three, there's no money being made off of it right now. I wouldn't say that's successful, but...
Is that how you want to keep it, Bill?
No, that's not how I want to keep it. But ultimately, progress. Yes, success is reaching an end goal, but even if you're just making progress, that's still success right there, because you're closer to that ultimate successful goal. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. And I think it really does vary for every person. Every journey is different.
Yeah.
Even a family friend, I think he might be watching this, so hey Chris, if you are, but he had started one and it was saying
to throw him out on the bus.
No, it's good because he has his own business, so
okay.
Go support him. But he was saying like, oh, it's just taking a long time, it's not going as it would. I think I have to get another job. So, but just within that, I was like reflecting back on my own. I was like, I'm going to be 3 years in this business and it feels like I'm just starting. And I wouldn't say that as like, be encouraged, like everything's going to take forever.
Right.
But looking at my own journey, I'm like, yeah, it was frustrating to be like, I want to quit my jobs, my part-time jobs, so that I can do this, but I can't because it's going so slow. And so I think that is like one of the hardest parts within that too, of knowing like, you have the passion, you've got the skills, you're bringing so much good to what you're doing, but timing can play a big role in it. And
and see, what's different here is you're figuring some of the stuff out, but the people in which your audience is and you're teaching, instructing, and whatever else is going in there, they don't have to figure it out because you've already figured it out for them.
I already failed a business for you, so I can tell you all about that. Don't worry.
Don't worry. You don't have to fail. It's okay. I did it for you.
But I joke. I'm like, but if you need to know how to terminate, I've learned that too. Oh, it's terrible.
It's like those commercials, but wait, there's more.
I know. Oh, man. But yeah, be encouraged, everyone. And that's why, which I want, when I talk about community, and the thing, they're going to join the Facebook community to like post the homework. But I'm going to emphasize, which sounds dumb, but I'm like, I need you to engage in this group because your homework coming up is going to be to create your own community. And you are going to see how hard it is to try to get people, one, to join it, and then two, to like, comment, to engage is so hard. So I kind of want to push that at the front end of it, because I'm going to say like one of those, like, I told you, like,
told you so.
It's not easy. I might make it sound like it's easy, but it's incredibly hard to start a community from scratch. And I'm just like, which too, because you've got a community now.
Oh, yeah. 10 people.
Yep. Oh, man. Okay, but we'll cut it off here because we can talk forever. I know. But yeah, so definitely check out the descriptions. Make sure you're subscribed to both our YouTube channels, to our podcast, to our social medias, our newsletters. And on my end, I am talking about creating the masterclass in my weekly email. So you can join us on the inside. And yeah, we'll check in again next week. So until then, have a good day.